tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. I know people like to say that bodybuilding is all about creating an illusion on stage. But let me ask you this. Does anything that we've seen from Nick Walker lately feel like an illusion to you? When Nick posted these photos last week, showing off his crazy conditioning and what was probably the smallest waist of his career, it definitely didn't feel like there was any sort of illusion to it. If anything, it feels like he's doing the thing that detractors said he wouldn't be able to do, which is continue to get better without becoming blocky or throwing off his proportions. Every single time someone comes up with a reason for why Nick Walker won't succeed, not only does he turn around and prove them wrong, he goes 10 steps beyond what anyone else could have even anticipated. And that's not an illusion. These are facts. I was reading a book about finance days ago, and I highlighted this quote because I thought it was applicable to bodybuilding. The world is too complex to allow 100% of your actions dictate 100% of your actions. But if you're seeing this new update from Ramon Dino released late last week, it's pretty hard to sell yourself on the actions not having any sort of direct correlation to what happens during Olympia weekend. This is the best that he's ever looked 10 or 11 weeks out from a show. Full stop. This division might have a couple of world beaters sitting at the top, but as Tony Robbins would say, if you want to get massive results, then you have to take massive action. And if what we're seeing now holds up, Ramon's actions might end up carrying him a very long way to come. I thought about this today right before we started the show. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but has anyone ever stopped to ask whether or not an old dog has the ability to teach himself something new? Because even though William Bonac is an experienced old dog when it comes to competing on the Olympia stage, he might be reaching a level now that's unlike anything we've seen from him at any point in his career, which is a hell of a thing to do when your career resume reads like it does. If you pay attention and read the tea leaves, there's a lot of buzz from people in the industry who seem to believe that this is going to be one of those hit it out of the park years for William Bonac. And when you hear something like this enough times, it usually means that there's something to it. There have been plenty of times in the past where we've seen William Bonac at his best and completely wipe the floor with everyone else in the lineup. And even though it's probably not reasonable to expect something like that at a show of the Olympia caliber, if he does come in anywhere close to the level people are predicting, he's probably going to give Ramy his biggest threat this year. If you own a business or ever are in a position to hire someone, I want you to keep this in mind. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. And to a certain extent, that same line of thinking applies to sports too. When someone consistently performs at a high level year in and year out, the way Hunter Labrada has, and you hear from reliable sources that this is the best prep that he's ever had, you better take that one straight to the bank. Because we already know what a locked and loaded Hunter Labrada is all about. One of the fascinating things we've seen from Hunter throughout his prep is the way that he's been able to put on new muscle while also simultaneously managing to stay leaner than he's ever been. Because usually those two things don't tend to go together. When this guy sets his mind to something, more often than not, he finds a way to make it happen. So if he's telling you that he's poised to make a deep run this year at the Olympia, now's probably not the time for you to start having doubts. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.